Trooping onto the streets of Derry and Belfast, they couldn't have been welcomed more warmly. For nationalists, they were the saviours, their deployment a nail in the coffin of the Unionist Stormont regime and an insurance against loyalist attacks. 2,000 families left their homes due to the sectarian violence which began in Derry after the Apprentice Boys Parade, sparking direct conflict between police and nationalists and culminating in the burning by loyalists of Catholic homes in West Belfast. Some fled to refugee camps south of the border.
If you're in a predominantly Catholic area, you're not safe anymore.
The British Army's role was to take primacy over the RUC and to prevent intercommunal strife. That role soon changed, however. Within 6 months, the Provisional IRA emerged and military attitudes also toughened.
Stand still, you're under arrest for breaking the curfew.
The 2-day Falls Road curfew was a major turning point. In February 1971, the first soldier was killed. Conflict between the troops and nationalists became commonplace, and the introduction of internment without trial in August that year increased nationalist alienation. Bloody Sunday in January 1972 brought relations to their lowest when paratroopers shot dead 13 civilians. This debacle was followed by the fall of Stormont and the introduction of direct rule from Westminster. Bloody Friday in Belfast, the worst day of IRA violence against civilians, led to Operation Motorman.
We moved into what had previously been the so-called no-go area.
21,000 troops took part in the removal of barricades in Derry and Belfast, the biggest force ever deployed and twice the present strength. Reinforcements were brought in at crisis points such as the hunger strikes and after the Anglo-Irish Agreement in the 80s, or during the loyalist strikes of the 70s, though their conduct then was severely criticised. For the 10th anniversary, the IRA threatened attacks as it has for the 20th, and in Warren Point killed 18 soldiers. Through the 80s, little changed. Soldiers now support the police, but Northern Ireland remains a most heavily militarised society, with a 20-year security bill of £4 billion and nearly 3,000 lives lost. For the individual soldier, life isn't easy.
First of all, it was really tense and that. And, every single second of the day you're expecting something to happen.
So, the reality after 20 years is continuing violence, the communities remain polarised, and the political stalemate is unresolved.
The army have in many ways been the victims insofar as they have been the tool of a one-man government, which is what we've got in Northern Ireland. Now is the time, I think, for them to look at their role, which should be close to the frontier, trying to intercept the weapons which ultimately, if they get through, kill people in Belfast or on the streets of other Ulster towns.
Do we continue with this for another 20 years? Because there is no victory for the British Army and there is no victory for the Provisional IRA. A halt must be called somewhere, and I suggest that halt should be called in terms of the political process itself, especially in relation to the Anglo-Irish Agreement, where the two governments have the authority and the power to try and work towards an arrangement which would allow for peace on the streets of Northern Ireland and allow the army to disappear forevermore.